Ayrat, welcome to ZenOne podcast. This is going to be a third or fourth podcast on ZenOne. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty cool. Last week, you and I were talking about lots of different things. As always, you have so many different ideas about what's going on in dentistry. You constantly try to hack different things. But specifically, we spoke more about the labs. And this is why I wanted to sit down today, just bring the cameras and try to bring as much as knowledge you know to the rest of the people about hacking the dental lab. And specifically hacking the dental lab bill, and not just the bill, but also the quality. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Because I know you're like doing a lot of crazy things there. So
Yeah. So the biggest problem wasn't so much the bill, getting the quality, timelines, and just overall satisfaction for the patients, and that's where it came from, because we used labs, some of the well-known labs, some of them like really highly recommended and highly posted on social media, and we tried them all. Not them all, but we tried some of them, and we came to realization that we couldn't get the consistent quality. So that was the biggest issue. And that's how we actually started with CEREC in-house milling back when we started, because right away, we needed that consistency and quality. And later on, as cases develop as more complex cases, so we still needed some lab partners, and we were trying different labs, and we couldn't get the same consistency. Then I started thinking what we can do. Came across exocad designing. Exocad designing was helping us a lot, and then with exocad design you pretty much have everything you need to make the restoration. And with that restoration, I started talking to the labs, and labs said, if you're going to design, we don't want to work with you. And we're like, okay, let's see what else we can do. And we came across this service as milling centers. So one of the big ones, Alien Milling. There's one in Dallas called House Milling, and there's like Monster Milling also in Dallas. They just started recently, and there are a few others around the.
Can I pause you here?
Yeah.
Because you said so many things. I want to go back.
Sure.
So when you said consistency, that was the consistency in the color of the crown, or consistency of the crown fitting in? Like, where was the consistency not consistent?
So there's color, the fitment, the workflow. So every lab has their own workflow. Also, like sometimes going back and forth on the designs, it was a little bit difficult, because they will send you like photo, and they expect you to tell them from the photo what you don't like about it, and from the photo it's not always a good representation. Then you get that restoration back, and then you realize, oh, I should have changed this thing. One of the biggest things is timelines. Timelines always like really big with labs, and depending how popular lab is, the timeline is going to be higher. It's not necessarily, it's like all comes down to marketing, I feel like heavily marketed labs, not necessarily the best labs. The smaller guys that been around forever, they also, I feel like they're getting very hard to communicate with. Sometimes they want like they go hard on you sometimes, and I understand why, because every dentist is different. They're trying to put everyone in the same
in the same
vision.
box.
Yeah, and it's just there was a lot of difficult pieces to puzzle together.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions I have. There will sound like a 5-year-old, because I like supplies. I'm still learning about the lab stuff. So you have a CEREC in-house, but that's not for every procedure, right? It's not for, you can't mill every crown in-house. Like, there's certain things you have to send out.
Yes, so with CEREC you limited to the design, because design software is not very robust as exocad. So if you need like something more complex, you're gonna spend way too much
What would
time.
be the more complex?
Some like,
Number 8?
yeah, the front teeth restoration, anterior restorations would be difficult ones. Something that, implant crowns, for example, we do,
How implant
good number.
crowns are different from regular crowns?
So the implant crowns, you have to puzzle together several pieces.
Like
so
abutments and...
yeah, so like a tie base or custom abutment depends on the height of the gingiva, how deep the implant is. There's a lot of little details, and unless you.
Okay, so the implant crown you can't mill at home.
You can do on CEREC.
You can.
But again, you're limited only to certain parts, like a tie basis. So you won't be able to do on custom abutment, on titanium custom abutment. And then CEREC also is limited. It has its own like a closed work system. So like file standards and stuff, like they're different from the STL open source systems.
Okay.
So they make it a little bit more difficult and limited on parts.
Okay, next thing, with milling centers versus the lab, I still don't grasp the full difference between a milling center and a traditional lab.
I'll explain.
Okay.
So milling center, it's like your own lab. So it's the guys that sitting with those milling machines. They have
Like big CEREC machines, pretty much.
Not necessarily CEREC, but yeah, big machines like CEREC, CNC, dental CNC machines. So imagine you have your own like production, some room with all the CNC machines, and you just tell them, hey, here's a file. Go ahead, mill it for me. And then they have additional services like they can, color match, things like that.
Bake it.
Yeah, bake it and polish it, things like that.
So how they're different from a traditional lab?
Traditional lab, you send them raw file, like a scan of the jaw or like impression, and you expect them to finish the restoration based off of that. You send them photos, whatever you have. So they're gonna give you like ideas what you can send them.
Okay, and then some guy at the traditional lab will get the file, or like a couple of years ago there was a like physical impression, and based on that they'll design a crown.
Yeah, and then they send you like a photo of it, like, hey, do you like it? And the time it takes, it's like unbelievable. So it takes a long time and a lot of back and forth, and then he has his own ideas of design, and it's not like
Properly communicated back to you.
very hard to communicate, and it's no fault of anyone, but it's just hard to communicate. So the ideal case is doctor who did the prep, who did the work, they have the vision how they want it to look usually, right? So doctor gets more involved. Ideally, doctor designs this, and it's.
But no doctor will design it.
No doctor knows how to do exocad design, or CEREC designs have its own limitations as we discussed. So it's hard. So exocad was one piece of the puzzle that actually needs to be solved before you can work with the milling centers. If you solve that piece of the puzzle, then workflow with milling centers is very easy.
So you solved it, that now
So
somebody here, like a doctor, designs it, or you found somebody else to do it for you?
So first we try to learn it ourselves. It takes time, practice, and it's just hard.
But it's not just hard, because I know the story. You had a person on your team that learned, you trained them, they design all that stuff, which is really nice now, right? So somebody goes and does the digital scan, right? Then somebody in-house would design, and then you send it to the milling center.
So design.
That's how it was, right?
Yeah, design a little bit different. So we hired someone who was a designer
Before.
And she was a designer in another country, and she moved here.
She was assisting.
She was assisting, so we weren't really doing exocad, and then we already had exocad at that point. We're like, okay, let's try design with exocad, because I didn't know about milling centers at that point. I was like, what are we going to do with that design, because our milling machine doesn't do it. labs don't want to use our design,
Right.
what I'm going to do. And then slowly when I learned about milling centers, I was like, okay, let's try. And she started designing for us. And it worked out, but she left.
Right.
So she got better position at the actual dental lab.
Okay, so what was your solution to that?
So now I was like, okay, screw it, I'm going to learn it myself. I spent a couple days trying to figure out. I still wasn't really confident in my skills. I can do basic stuff, but I was like, no, I don't want to, test on our patients. And I started searching, and believe it or not, there's a lot of freelance designers.
Like Upwork?
Like Upwork. Actually, on Upwork you can find too. But there's actual websites for exocad designers, like a masterexocad.com or something like that.
Only?
Yeah, so it's like, and then there are Facebook groups for exocad designers. Of course, exocad designers, if you find them here in the United States, it's going to be more expensive. And there are like some outside US that will not charge a lot. And some of them actual legit doctors, prosthodontists that do the cases themselves.
In their own country?
In their own countries. And on the side, they, it's worth for them to design for customers in US or whatever.
Okay.
And that's what I was starting to realize, okay, maybe that's a solution. And I started talking to several people. And I found a person that I like to work with. He's actually a prosthodontist in Pakistan. And he does pretty complex cases.
Okay. Okay, so it's getting a lot more clear. So you got the traditional lab, and so it used to be impression, that impression material, now it's digital. Somebody scans it, right, with a scanner, digital scanner.
Mm-hmm.
Then that scan goes to the lab.
Mm-hmm.
From the lab, somebody picks it up, looks at it, tries to design, tries to communicate with the office, then make the crown, send it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
That process is like at least 10 days, if not more.
More.
How long?
I
15
mean,
days?
realistically, it's like it could take a month.
A month.
Before you get it, yeah.
For that whole thing to be done.
Yeah.
That's not including back and forth. Like, let's just say if the crown doesn't fit, do you send it back to the lab?
Yeah, at least.
In a traditional lab?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we're looking at the milling.
Let's say 2 weeks.
Okay.
In the best case.
2 weeks in the best case.
Each time you send it back and forth.
Okay. How much would that crown cost?
How?
In your case, in your office, if you already have CEREC, you can make your own crowns for a lot of things, but not number 8, for example.
Like a regular crown fee.
Yeah.
It's around $1,500. So more like
With a traditional lab, $1,500.
No. It's our cost. Like from the lab, it could be.
What's the lab cost?
Anywhere. I mean, there are different labs. So we get approached a lot by different
Right.
labs. They like promise.
Give me the range.
$80, $100.
But like
$200.
the crowns that you need them to do, not the ones that you can do yourself, like the CEREC ones you can do yourself, but the
At
crown
least $500.
$500.
Yeah.
For like number 8.
At least
That'd be my favorite tooth number.
At least $500.
Okay, and that's not an implant crown, or it could be an implant.
It's not an implant. Implant will be more expensive. Implant
much?
could range between, $600 to, with the custom shading, could go up to $1,000.
Okay, so now milling center.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. You scan it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go on exocad only. Group,
exocad design.
Yeah.
Oh, group. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Find the designer.
Yes.
Send it to them. So, how much is a designer?
So the rates I've been getting outside the U.S. anywhere between $3 to $10.
$3 to $10 per crown.
Per crown design. Yeah.
Okay. Then how much it would be in the U.S. if somebody would do in the U.S.?
That I have no idea. I would imagine probably
$20? $50?
probably somewhere between 25 to 50.
But the quality is not like, it's not like,
Yeah, it's a design.
right, it's a design.
If anything, you get better quality designer outside US because it's going to be
A
prosthodontist
Yeah.
that actually trained to do this type of complex restorations. He's going to understand, and if anything, he's going to be able to coach you on certain things and explain better. And what I like about a lot of those guys, they're very humble. So sometimes like you deal with someone that's been in business for a long time, and just the way they communicate and talk to you, like it's not always humble. So they're like they know better
Yeah,
and
it's
things
my
like
way or
that.
the
Don't waste my time
Right.
type of like vibe. So with those guys, you know,
They accommodate.
they accommodate tremendously, and they really explain in details a lot of times why they chose to do the design certain way, why they chose like recommend certain parts, things like that. So
Wait, then is it possible that for $3 a crown, okay, fine, $5 a crown overseas, you get someone who could potentially know more than a doctor?
yes,
That as they're designing, they can come back and say, but what about this? What about that? Something that you haven't thought about. Like not you specifically, but the doctor in the practice.
yeah. So and communication is the key. It's how you communicate with them. So you have to be open with them too. Like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm struggling with. Help me out from your side. And you have to find your designer. So it's not like any designer in those groups is going to be able to help you
Right.
the same way. So you have to test them. And
So
I mean,
we'll
the
come
cost is not huge. So you can send the same design to multiple guys.
Yeah.
Even if you have
$5 a
to, if
crown.
you have to pay
Yeah,
for
like sent to the whole group.
But what
Is
I
there a button sent to everybody?
you can, I think, at least like I don't know, upload it on Dropbox and just send that link to them. But the thing is, they also willing. First case, they're willing to do it for you for free. So you get something like what you're struggling with. Usually, you send same files of the scans to multiple guys and see how fast they get back to you. How well they're going to explain what they chose. I mean, you don't need to. You give them instructions, but at the same time, you want to vet them, like see who's potentially going to be a better communicator. Or
Okay, so let's say the most expensive, $10 a crown. Then they design back and forth. How long does it take?
so that's the thing. Like depending how busy they are, it could take a couple hours. It could take a day, but usually it's like pretty fast.
Okay, let's just say it's a day. Then that designer is ready to go to the milling center.
Yes. Well, upon approval, so they send you actual like exocad viewer in 3D that you can turn it around, see what you don't like. If you send them like a photos and stuff, they could send you like potentially with the photo
Yeah.
how it fits. So you get a little bit more information. I feel like from traditional labs, especially those that don't use exocad, for example.
Yeah.
They don't send anything. You just it's a whole different story. We can talk about this, but. Yeah, once you approve that design, they send you the raw file, or not raw file ready to be milled, and that file ready to be sent to milling center.
Okay. How do you pick a milling center?
You try them.
Do they do first crown for free too?
No, they don't, but I mean, it's a lot cheaper still, even if you have to do a couple different ones on the same case, but I personally work mainly with alien milling and house milling, and
These are the names of the labs here
Yeah.
local in Texas.
no, alien milling, it's in California. They're one of the biggest ones. If you guys ever been to Lab Day in Chicago, so it looks like it's an alien milling convention because they're all over the place.
Right.
So and me and you went there.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah,
Okay,
in
okay.
Februare.
So
yeah,
yeah.
it was for you. It was like a kid in the candy store. For me,
Yeah.
it was pretty boring. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun.
And house milling, they're here in Dallas, and they're pretty good.
Okay, so we talked about a day for the designer. We're putting all the pieces together. Now we talked about the alien lab or the milling, not the lab, sorry, milling center.
About milling centers, yes.
Right. So we talked about how to pick the milling center briefly.
Yeah.
How to find designer. Okay. How much does it cost with the milling center?
Milling center. So if we talk about regular crown, it could be like anywhere between $20 to
$20.
Yeah, it's like least expensive material. You're probably going to be in the range of, 40-ish, 40 to 50
For number 8.
for any crown. I
Okay.
mean, the tooth number doesn't matter. You make that crown, then number 8 is completely different animal. So number 8 is going to be more static case. You're going to get involved with more like staining and glazing and stuff like that.
Who's going to do that?
So that's another piece of the puzzle, which I'm currently working on solving, and hopefully it's going to be solved pretty soon. So you're going to need to, I guess, what's the patient's expectations? So there are labs, traditional labs, even those that have been like high-end, position themselves as a high-end. Sometimes they even don't do just number 8 without number 9. So they will say like, hey, if you're going to exact match, we're going to do 2 of them. That could be one approach when you talk to the patient as a clinician, like, hey, we're going to try our best, but we might not be able to achieve, exact result. So if you want an exact result, we're going to need to replace both. And patients, for the most part, if you explain that way, they will understand. But there's actually a technique to match. That's another technique. We recently went to a course, like over the past weekend. It's called Matisse.
The technique is called Matisse, or the course is called Matisse?
The actual technology, it's called Matisse. It stands for like a match every tooth, every time, something like that. So it's was very, very interesting course. It has the technology of matching the colors and giving you actually custom mixture of all the dyes and stuff that you're going to use. So this is a little bit more like detailed, but you guys can look it up, like Matisse. It requires investment.
In what? In the course?
Into the software, and you can learn it online, or you can take a course and learn it online, but it's more intense, hands-on. But before you get to that, I think you should nail down your digital workflow, working with milling centers. One of the biggest advantages of milling centers, you have access to the factory level production without investing into the machines yourself. So you don't have to buy those big milling machines or sintering ovens for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have the access for a fraction of the cost, and you'll get that production because on the level of the single dental practice, single provider, you don't really have that volume to invest. And frankly, we don't have the time or space or trained staff to take care of those machines. So that's what the advantage of the milling center. So once you get the restoration from milling center, you can get your implant crowns very inexpensively. Frankly, you get better designed ones because hopefully you find a prosthodontist outside US that will have a lot of experience restoring those. And once you receive them, the aesthetic parts is a little bit different. So aesthetic parts, from my experience, some milling centers better than others to stain. So if you send them good quality photos, they'll be able to match it pretty accurately. But if you're talking about the anterior number 8 or 9, that's still going to be a challenge. So that's the next step.
So let's talk about that step next. But so far, you take an implant crown.
Yes.
You said it's from $600 to $1,000 with a traditional lab. If we talk about the milling center.
So for implant crowns, it's a little bit more expensive. So if it's just the abutment, it could cost you like $50.
Okay. In addition to $40.
$50 to $100. Just a tie base.
Right.
And then crown on top, like I call it high-end, but good brand, like a Ivoclar, Zirconia Prime. It's like around $65, $70.
So
with the stain and glaze, it's probably going to come up closer to like $80, $90.
So how much was the tie base you said roughly?
Anywhere between $50 to $100, depending what brand implants you use.
Right, like Straumann versus whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Crown itself, you said how much?
65 to maybe like 90 on a higher end. Lower end,
Yeah.
probably even less. But the price is available. So if you go to alien milling
Right.
or house milling websites, you'll see the price
Okay.
difference. So
And then the glazing.
and the glazing like $10-15.
So at the higher end, you're paying $205 per crown, versus at the lower end, you're paying $600 per crown.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that the quality or the matching could even be better than the one you sent to the lab.
Yes, once you figure out the workflow, we get a lot more consistent, better result, and then you don't feel as bad
Yeah.
because
Why
time-wise, you're not spending as much time.
Yeah.
It's a lot faster, and then if I have to redo the crown, it doesn't hurt me as much.
Can you still do the same day crowns using milling?
No,
centers?
milling center, you send it outside, so it takes a couple days for them to.
But the advantage of the CEREC in the office was always that you can do same day crowns.
Yes, same day crowns still great, like for your molars and more like a back
But if
teeth.
we're talking about people don't need CEREC machines anymore, like they won't be able to do same day crowns.
So CEREC, it's integral for our workflow because we do quite a bit of like root canals and molar restorations. And we got to the point where we're comfortable even with anterior on CEREC certain cases. So CEREC is still, for us, it still works out pretty good. You just have to nail down the workflow and just commit to it. And CEREC is amazing. But this is not to necessarily completely replace the CEREC workflow. It's more to enhance it, and then especially for implant crowns. So we do quite a bit of implants, so implant crowns, we want to have better control of implant crowns.
Interesting. So what about the services like Dandy?
I haven't experienced them, but I experienced like inexpensive labs, let's put it that way.
Yeah. So, but that again, I don't want to pick on them because I don't know much about them.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that they give you a scanner,
Mm-hmm.
and you're locked into their scanner, to their service, to their workflow, and probably to their lab.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not, they're probably not using milling centers.
They probably have their own,
Right.
I would assume.
Okay. So why not? Like, why people not doing this? Like, why people still go to traditional lab?
There are a lot of little pieces to the puzzle. You have to test, try. Who's making decisions in the dental office? Usually the owner, the dentist. And dentists doing the clinical, doing the admin stuff. They don't always have time to experiment with different workflows. So that's why it's hard. Like, people think, maybe that's what I used to think, and I assume that's a lot of times people think, you have to learn the exocad, just another thing to learn, and you're not going to get good at it. And quite frankly, when I realized there are people outside US can do it better, actual like prosthodontists, I'm like, okay, doesn't make sense for me to waste my time on a design.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to be good enough to look at it, and I'm not a clinician doctor, so usually doctor looks at it, I'll just bring everything on the screen and we'll discuss. And every time we discuss, doctor points out like, okay, this needs to be this way because of that so-and-so, and I get better every time we have those discussions. And yeah, it's just learning process, but we're getting better every case.
But you still have that person who does all the design for you.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do you think this whole thing is going to? Are the labs going to die?
I think there's always place for everyone. Like I said, again, dentists, they overworked, and there's amount of decisions they have to make daily. It's too much. They might not get to the point where they're going to utilize milling centers. And milling centers, I assume most of their customers are actual labs that send to them that don't want to have overhead of having those machines. And actually, coming back from that Matisse course, we were the only dental office presented there out of all the attendees. There weren't like that many, but all of the rest of them were labs that trying to get better at improving their aesthetic cases. And talking to them, I realized a lot of them using milling centers. And I had this, thought that
right.
most
So,
of
but
the
then
customers-
for if you do it correctly, it's sort of like your shortcut. Like you don't, like the lab is still going to send it to the milling center.
yeah, and
So
then
you might as well just
yeah,
get the designer, send it to them,
yeah,
get it back, and your turnaround time is a lot quicker. So a day for designer, 2 days for the milling center, and then depending on a crown itself, whatever else you need to do, it could come back to you like in 3-4 days. So if you see a patient on Monday, you could put a crown on Friday.
yeah, and you don't pay the middleman
Right.
in the U.S.
That's incredible. I just don't understand like why it hasn't been discussed more, but more importantly, why would you still use labs?
That's why we don't use labs. Even with the recent case on number 8 implant crown, we use the lab we use multiple labs because we weren't confident in our, artistic techniques, and we send out to different labs. There's one approached us through Instagram, was like, we're gonna do all the cases, all the aesthetic and everything. We have incredible team, we match and everything. They send this email list with like all the great courses they hold, how great they are, and with the photos and stuff. And we've been like back and forth several times, and they couldn't come close. They would send them several cases. Funny enough, out of all the cases, maybe like 4 or 5 cases we sent to them at the same time just to test them. Like only one we were able to deliver. It wasn't like perfect, but it was okay. Like patient agreed.
8 out of 10.
And yeah. So we delivered that. The rest of them, they couldn't even come close. So I had to have discussion with them, like, hey, you guys take it back. We're done. Like we cannot constantly send back and forth, waiting 2 weeks and stuff. And I was so pissed off, I ended up sending to the milling center with all the photos and everything. They matched better color than that lab at a fraction of the cost. We were able to deliver those cases. The only one we couldn't deliver is number 8, because I didn't send it to the milling center because I'm still not confident they're going to match it very good.
But why not?
I don't know, maybe I should have tried. So I found another lab that uses that Matisse system. And I encourage you guys to look it up. Matisse is great.
We'll link it.
So we recently received it back. Yesterday we tried it. They matched a little bit better than, previous, but still not exact. So now we're like, okay. And they closed for vacation for a week. So I couldn't talk to them yesterday.
Then the milling center doesn't close.
I'm sure they do, but you'll get an email like, hey, we're going to close these days. But I don't think they're going to be closed for like entire week.
Yeah. Can we briefly talk about the color matching? I don't understand why it's such a big pain in the butt.
So
There's so many tools, like from like the car industry, right? They do a quick scan. Why even car? Like you go to Home Depot. You
But
bring a
you don't-
sample.
you don't
They
get-
do like a quick scan and then they match the color and they say this is your color.
but it's
Like,
not
why
the
is-
match color. Like if you take and you paint the wall with that from Home Depot,
Right.
and you paint half of the same wall with new paint, you're still going to be able to tell where like differences.
Okay.
So when somebody smiles and looks at your face, you don't want to see that obvious color difference. And a little bit of shade, it's material. It's like your enamel versus like zirconia or ceramic. So the material density could be different. Like there are a lot of little different stuff that could make how the sun shines into the
Yeah.
tooth.
But I don't understand why there's no scanner.
So there is Matisse.
The scanner itself?
So they have a camera that will upload to the special software that will show you, they'll give you actually they will use any brand pretty much available on the market of the stains, and they'll give you the custom formulation, what colors to mix to what ratio, and you mix that, and you kind of like are going over the photo and seeing where to add the colors, and you kind of like artistically add the colors and shapes and stuff, and you bake it. I mean, it's a process, you have to learn how to do it, but I've never done it myself, and I think I got pretty close to the result during the course.
And you did it at home, like you got the crown back, and then you stained it, bake it yourself.
So on the course, they would give you crowns for all the participants, and to the person like next to you, you match each other's teeth, and by the end of the course, they compare.
What a fun course! You just look at each other's teeth and
Yeah.
paint for 2 days.
Yep.
Wow. Do you see AI taking over that part?
I mean, AI is part of that, the whole system too.
Yeah.
But I don't know how AI can match the colors physically.
Just give you the final paint to use. That's
Yeah,
gonna
the
be matched.
formulation, and that's
Yeah.
what Matisse does. It gives you the final formulation. It's pretty amazing. I mean, I can talk in more details about this.
Right, but we
you know.
will send people to the course.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything we missed on this? Because I want to wrap it up.
So yeah, if you want to cut the cost, you want to get better results
And faster results. That's
faster results.
the cool part.
You have to learn the digital workflow. Stop being dependent on labs. The biggest problem on the labs I notice also is they will enthusiastically take you as a new customer.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do a case, maybe even do a case for free, and then they hand you over to maybe less qualified technician. I don't know how that works within the labs, but every time, like I start working with the lab.
How many labs have you worked with?
Luckily not too many.
But just like 10, 15 in your entire, since the office has been open?
Maybe handful, like a 10 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and every time they will be very enthusiastic on bringing you, but then I kind of have a feeling that they hand you off to someone less maybe experienced, or maybe they care less, maybe they're pursuing new business, but it's like consistency and quality wasn't there. Maybe they overworked, I don't know. It seems like there are labs in Austin area here. There are only a few like big name labs, and they're always busy. They're probably one of the busiest ones that I've seen nationwide, like talking to other labs in other states. Austin's probably the worst in terms of turnaround times.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting. So I will ask you for links for the ExaCAD design group.
Mm-hmm.
I'll include that. We'll include the Matisse course. We'll include a couple mailing center links. But what else? Where else people can go to learn about this stuff?
YouTube,
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing to learn, honestly. You just
If you have a scanner, right?
If you have a scanner, there's nothing to learn. Get the scanner, go on the group, make a post like looking for a designer.
Yeah. When the scanner, after the scan is done, like where does the file go?
After scan done, you have those STL files of the upper and lower jaw, and then you just upload it to shareable link, whatever, or send it via
Drive
email.
or Dropbox.
Yeah, or just send it, and just find the guys that are willing to work and look through their portfolio. Find someone that you want to send out.
How do you communicate with them? Through email?
First, if you go to Facebook groups, Facebook Messenger, if you go through the actual website where all the designers see, they have communication there, and and from Facebook group, they offered me like free design, like a trial, and I sent the same file to multiple guys, and I kind of like got the taste how people communicate, how fast they turn around and stuff, and I just start using them.
Got it. All right, so here you go, people. Instead of paying $500 per crown, you can be well over $43 and getting it faster and cheaper. That's not an implant crown?
And I mean, $500-$600 would be in your implant crown range.
Right.
Regular crowns probably $150-$200.
Okay, so sizable difference. Instead of $150, you get it for 43. But like, what I like about it, not only the cost, but the timing, the quality, you control it. and you get it faster so that the patient gets the crown faster. You get to bill them faster so that you get the money faster. All right, this is great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.